On the day the Triple Crown winning actress announced her wedding date, my husband of 10 years killed me. He blamed me for taking pity on him and helping him back then, which led his leech of a mother to set her sights on me and force him to pursue me. And so, I became the reason he missed his chance with the one who got away. After being reborn, I returned to the day I saved him from domestic violence. This time, I let him keep his dignity and accepted his fate. Walking past without a backward glance, on our 10th wedding anniversary, Pei Mingyan killed me with his own hands. During lunch, his expression was off. He was smiling, yet it was tinged with an inexplicable sorrow. I noticed the shift in his mood immediately. What's wrong? Something on your mind? Pei Mingyan didn't answer me. Jiang Mingyue, do you know what day it is today? I gave a slight smile. Just our wedding anniversary. It's so obvious, and you still want me to guess. Pei Mingyan lowered his gaze and took an elegant bite of steak. Today is the day Shiyu gets married. Hearing the name Jiang Shiyu, the smile on my face slowly froze. The once savory steak in my mouth instantly lost all its flavor. He had loved Jiang Shiyu for a full 10 years. Every night, tormented by depression into a frenzy, he would cover the floor with his own blood, yet scrawled Jiang Shiyu's name everywhere. The only way to calm him down was to pretend to be Jiang Shiyu. Sometimes, I wonder if my persistence is the right choice. I remained silent because I didn't know what to say. Pei Mingyan looked at me calmly, his demeanor somber, an indescribable emotion flowing in his eyes. I'm planning to give her a special gift. I didn't even have time to think. A sharp pain suddenly shot through my lower abdomen. The pain was so intense that I collapsed to the ground. A cold sweat broke out all over my body. Pei Mingyan stood up and half knelt before me. His icy fingers gently stroked my face, his tone as soft as a lover's whisper. This is my wedding gift to her. What does that mean? Is Pei Mingyan going to kill me for Jiang Shiyu's sake? My knuckles turned white from clenching. The words forced out through gritted teeth. Why? Pei Mingyan's eyes were dull and lifeless. Because my only light has gone out. I no longer have the right to love her, but I'm afraid of what you might do to her after I'm gone. So I thought of a solution that solves both problems. Taking you with me to the grave. The pain left me speechless. My heart bled as if pierced by a needle. My survival instinct took over. I clung desperately to Pei Mingyan's coat, but he pried my fingers open. One by one, he snapped my last lifeline. Jiang Mingyue, I know you mean well, but I despise you. I despise how you insult me every time you give me money, and I despise the condescending air you carry. A flicker of hatred flashed in Pei Mingyan's eyes. I often think, if my mother hadn't met you that day, she wouldn't have forced me to marry you. Sure, you and I wouldn't have missed all these years. It's all because of you, Jiang Mingyue. Why couldn't you have just died sooner? So, my kindness towards him had only ever filled him with such disgust. It's a wonder he managed to keep up the act for 10 whole years. I laughed until tears streamed from my eyes, the burning in my gut growing fiercer. In my final moments, my mother's stern face appeared before me. Jiang Mingyue, if you insist on marrying him, then don't call me mother ever again. I'm sorry, Mom, I shouldn't have defied you. If I could do it all over again, I would never choose to marry Pei Mingyan. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in the alley in front of Pei Mingyan's house. Had I been reborn, before I could even feel a moment of joy, a woman's furious shouts came from not far away. You useless brat. You can't even keep an eye on your own father. You're completely worthless. I truly regret ever giving birth to you. The sickening thud of a wooden rod striking flesh still hung in the air. I looked up. Pei Mingyan, 18 years old, was being beaten with a stick by his mother. Rolling on the ground in agony, the lanky teenager wore a ragged t-shirt, his exposed skin a patchwork of angry purple and green bruises. I remembered my past life. My first encounter with Pei Mingyan was right here. Watching him endure a beating without fighting back, without a second thought, I had rushed over and placed myself between him and his assailant. Auntie, why are you hitting someone? His mother was still being relentless, but upon seeing my expensive-looking clothes, she immediately beamed and said it was all a misunderstanding. Mingyan, this is your classmate, right? Why didn't you introduce me? Disgusted by his mother's mean and bitter expression, I forcibly dragged Pei Mingyan to the small clinic on the next street to treat his wound. While tending to the wound, the old man couldn't resist prying into Pei Mingyan's family affairs, asking if his father had run off with a mistress and if his mother had gambled away the family home. Back then, I only complained to the old man about how extreme Pei Mingyan's mother was, completely failing to notice that Pei Mingyan himself was hanging his head in shame. Pei Mingyan must have held a grudge against me from that moment on. That's why I won't be helping him this time. I cast a cold glance and quickened my pace, only to hear Pei Mingyan's faint voice calling from behind, Jiang, Mingyue. I ran even faster. I dashed all the way back to the school without stopping. I skipped lunch in the cafeteria and went back to the classroom instead, settling back into my seat. I opened my textbook with a surreal sense of déjà vu, this time. I was determined to study hard and make up for the regrets of my past life. As the class bell rang, Pei Mingyan and Jiang Shiyu walked in from outside, chatting and laughing. The tenderness in his eyes seemed to overflow. Returning to her seat, Jiang Shiyu didn't forget to mouth a silent reminder to Pei Mingyan, telling him to be careful with his arm. But I distinctly remember they aren't this close at all right now. It suddenly hit me that Pei Mingyan had just called my name, earlier. When he was beaten half to death, he hadn't made a single sound. The only explanation is that he's been reborn too. However, I didn't dwell on it, because in the first class this afternoon, our homeroom teacher would let us choose seats based on our grades, and Pei Mingyan and I would end up as desk mates. The gears of fate began to turn at this very moment. Just like in the previous life, our whole class was called outside. He read out the names according to our monthly exam results. Jiang Shiyu, who ranked first in the class, chose a seat in the second row, right in the middle. Pei Mingyan was ranked 14th. By the time he went in, all the seats around Jiang Shiyu, in front, behind, and to the sides, had been taken. Pei Mingyan had no choice but to pick a seat in the fourth row of the adjacent group. From his vantage point, Jiang Shiyu's profile was immediately visible. I used to think he chose at random, but looking back, he must have planned it all along. Before me, Jiang Shiyu was the only person who was ever kind to him. She was beautiful, kind-hearted, and an excellent student, so it's no surprise he fell for Jiang Shiyu. Soon after, the homeroom teacher called my name. As the last one to be called, I had no choice but to take the seat next to Pei Mingyan. He always wore the same clothes, so the other students thought he was unhygienic and didn't want to sit with him. I was the only one who was so carefree and open. Later, after I developed feelings for Pei Mingyan and learned about his poor family background, I used my allowance to buy him a lot of the designer brands my cousin loved to wear. Yet, my good intentions somehow shattered his fragile ego. I guess some people just don't deserve my kindness. I glanced at Pei Mingyan. He didn't look back at me, as if he had already expected me to sit next to him, but I wasn't willing to repeat the same mistake. I raised my hand toward the homeroom teacher. Teacher, I don't want to sit next to Pei Mingyan. Pei Mingyan turned around and looked at me with a puzzled expression. The homeroom teacher didn't want to set a precedent. Jiang Mingyue, you can choose your seat next time when your grades improve. For now, you'll sit next to Pei. I insisted. No. Sitting next to him will only distract me from my studies. A smattering of mocking laughter rippled through the classroom, as if I'd just told a joke. Jiang Shiyu, sitting in front of me, also shot me a meaningful glance. It didn't matter if they didn't believe me. I have every confidence in myself. If I could get into medical school for Pei Mingyan in my past life, then I can certainly get into University A for myself. The homeroom teacher adjusted his glasses. With Pei's grades, he's more than capable of tutoring you. Wouldn't it be better if you just asked him directly when you don't understand something? I have no patience for this back and forth with the homeroom teacher. If you don't agree, I'll have my mother call you. The homeroom teacher instantly stopped trying to persuade me. He had the girl in the third to last row switch seats with me. The moment I sat down, I started studying in earnest. Although I had memories from my past life, I had been away from my student days for so long that I had to relearn a lot of the material. Once you dive headfirst into the ocean of knowledge, you realize there's never enough time. I didn't even hear the bell for the end of class, not until Pei Mingyan rapped his knuckles sharply on my desk. Jiang Mingyue, I need to talk to you. I really didn't want to go. I figured it's better to get some things out in the open sooner rather than later. Pei Mingyan and I walked to the end of the corridor. You've been reborn too, haven't you? Pei Mingyan asked me, his face expressionless. I didn't hide anything. I just nodded, his hands clenched into fists, his gaze dark and menacing as he stared at me. I'm the one who killed you. If you want revenge, take it out on me. I couldn't wait and cut him off. Don't worry, I won't seek revenge on anyone. Dying by your hand was my own fault. If I could choose again, I'd just want to study hard and make up for my past regrets. My mom tried to talk me into breaking up with Pei Mingyan. My colleagues tried to talk me out of it, too. Everyone around me tried to talk sense into me. They all said Pei Mingyan didn't care for me, but I stubbornly went my own way. I guess I had this coming. I have no right to resent anyone. Pei Mingyan stared at me, dumbfounded, as if he couldn't believe the words had come from my mouth, but I had no intention of explaining myself to him. You'd be better off spending that time solving a couple more practice problems. Just as I was turning to leave, Pei Mingyan called out to me again, Jiang Mingyue, I'm sorry for what happened before. Once I'm with Shiryu, I'll make it up to you. I turned to look at my reflection in the glass and couldn't help but sneer. How about I kill you first and then apologize? Would that work? Pei Mingyan was taken aback. You still? I turned to face him. I don't need your compensation, if it's money. My family has more than we could ever spend, and it's not like you have anything else to offer me, so there, I don't need it, and I don't want it. Just as Pei Mingyan said, he wanted to make up for the regrets he had with Jiang Shiyu. The moment class ended, he went over to strike up a conversation under the pretense of asking a question. I had planned to squeeze in one more English reading comprehension exercise during the break. But the boisterous laughter from the front of the room was so distracting I couldn't focus. Annoyed, I frowned and looked over. That's when I noticed, for the first time ever, Pei Mingyan was wearing a new outfit. Noticing my glance, Jiang Shiyu offered kindly, Mingyue, would you like to borrow my English notes? I've organized all the key points. I remember your English isn't the strongest, so this might help you improve faster. A classmate nearby sneered, it's not just her English that's bad. Her other subjects aren't great either. Forget it, Shiyu, with Jiang Mingyue's grades, do you really think she could understand any of it? Stop trying to be the nice guy. Some people just love to bite off more than they can chew. Jiang Shiyu cut them off with a dark expression. Don't talk about Mingyue like that. What if she makes a huge leap and proves you all wrong? That remark made me frown. My gaze swept over the classmates who had just been laughing at me. We weren't close, but they disliked me. Thinking back, I was never the type to stir up trouble, yet in my past life, the whole class inexplicably ostracized me. No one would talk to me except for Pei Mingyan. That was also when I fell for Pei Mingyan, the boy's handsome profile, his melancholy gaze, and the warmth that occasionally shone through became the sole salvation in my life. Looking back now, I suspect Jiang Shiyu was stirring up trouble behind the scenes. That made it even more impossible for me to be civil to her. I stretched with a lazy yawn. No need to trouble yourself. My mother hired a tutor for me. Jiang Shiyu was living in my house, so of course she knew I was saying it on purpose. Biting her lip in hurt, she said, Mingyue, I didn't mean anything by it. I didn't say anything more. She should understand plain English. Pei Mingyan couldn't bear to see the person he liked being rejected. He called my name again, Jiang Mingyue. Shiyu was kind enough to lend you her notes. The least you could do is say thank you, even if you're not grateful. Just because she offered it, am I obligated to accept? I only gave him a single, icy word in reply, get lost. After school, I was packing up my things. Jiang Shiyu walked up to me, her fingers clutching her backpack strapped tightly. She asked in a small voice, Mingyue, could I walk home with you this time? It's always so late by the time I get back on the bus. My mind was on which books to take home. I didn't even look up. Our ways don't go together. Rejected so bluntly, Jiang Shiyu hung her head in disappointment. It gave off a pitiful, heart-tugging impression. She blinked her eyes with an air of innocence. Mingyue, do you dislike me? In my past life, Jiang Shiyu and I kept our distance from each other, even though I disliked her. I held back out of basic decency, after what just happened. Who knows how many times Jiang Shiyu has stabbed me in the back. The fact that I didn't hit her shows I have plenty of self-restraint. In this second chance at life, all I want to do is focus on my studies. Seeing that I was ignoring her, she left with red-rimmed eyes, and of course, Pei Mingyan fell for it hook, line, and sinker. He was practically heartbroken. I had just stepped out of the classroom when Pei Mingyan grabbed me by the collar and dragged me into a corner. The fabric dug into my throat, nearly choking me. Jiang Mingyue, you promised me you wouldn't bully Shiryu. My neck flushed red as I gasped for air. If you're sick, go see a doctor. Don't take your crazy out on me. You're looking for a death wish. Pei Mingyan was convinced I had bullied Jiang Shiyu. With red-rimmed eyes, he dragged me towards the equipment room, completely ignoring my struggles. Pei Mingyan, let go of me. Just then, Jiang Shiyu happened to come downstairs. Witnessing this scene, you too, Pei Mingyan let go of me as if shocked by electricity. I stomped hard on his new shoes and then ran off. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Pei Mingyan bend down to wipe his new shoes. I didn't stop running until I reached the school gate. My mom always sends a driver to pick me up, but he hadn't arrived yet. while I was waiting for my ride, Pei Mingyan and Jiang Shiyu also came out of the school. Jiang Shiyu was the first to say goodbye. Pei Mingyan looked at her with a reluctant, almost tangible longing in his eyes. It wasn't that I didn't know he loved Jiang Shiyu in my past life. They say time heals all wounds, and I was the only one who truly believed it. I thought I could warm Pei Mingyan's heart with my own, but I was wrong. His heart is harder than stone, impossible to warm. As I looked away, I saw Jiang Shiyu walking towards me, shamelessly approaching to ask me once again, "Mingyue, are you sure I can't come with you?" She had often tried to get close to me before, but because of Pei Mingyan, I felt a distance and simply ignored her. But this time, a smile touched my lips as I happily agreed, "Sounds great." It wasn't the driver who came to pick me up today. 10 minutes later, my family's Mercedes pulled up at the school gate. The car window rolled down, revealing my mother's beautiful, sharp-featured face. Jiang Shiyu trembled like a mouse seeing a cat at the sight of my mother. "Auntie, yeah." My mother gave her a brief, dismissive glance. "Don't call me auntie, we're not that close." My mom didn't spare her any face. Jiang Shiyu's complexion instantly turned pale, and she fidgeted nervously, digging her nails into her palm. It looked like she was on the verge of tears. When it comes to my mom's sharp tongue, no one stands a chance. I can't really blame my mom. Jiang Shiyu is my father's illegitimate daughter. On his deathbed, he forced my mom to take her in, so her situation in our home is very awkward. Seeing my mom again, my emotions were on a roller coaster. "Mom, let's take her home with us today." My mother just glanced at me. "Get in the car." Jiang Shiyu, standing to the side, refused with red-rimmed eyes. "Mingyue, I'll just take the bus back myself. I don't want to intrude on you and, Ms. Yeah." My mother's dislike for Jiang Shiyu was nothing new, and she didn't want to invite any more awkwardness. She jogged away, quickly disappearing from my sight. On the way home, neither my mom nor I spoke a word. Both of us just stared out the window at the passing scenery. I caught a glimpse of a familiar figure getting into a luxury car. Could that be Jiang Shiyu? I couldn't quite figure out what was going on. My mom got out of the car and came back a moment later, shoving a bag into my arms. I looked down and saw it was soup dumplings from Miyunji. So, my mom had taken a detour to Miyunji. "Haven't you been saying you wanted to try these?" I knew this was her way of making the first move to patch things up. My mom and I gave each other the silent treatment for 2 months over my decision to apply to University A. I took a bite, and a familiar taste filled my mouth. Because I loved their food, my mom invested in Miyunji. Thinking of the foolish things I did in my past life, I couldn't hold back my tears. My mom, thinking I'd been bullied at school, was so startled she slammed on the brakes. Yeah, what's wrong?" I wiped my tears, the bun still in my mouth. "It's nothing, I haven't had these in so long. I missed them." My mom wasn't buying it for a second. "Is someone bullying you at school? Tell me the truth. I'll call Aunt Jiang right now." I swallowed the last bite quickly and shook my head. No, really, it's just thinking about how I used to argue with you about University A makes me feel awful. I've had countless arguments with my mom. First, I knew I wouldn't get in, and second, I felt she was insulting me. Later, after falling for Pei Mingyan, I came clean with my mom and said I wanted to apply to medical school with him. That night, my mom and I had the most intense fight of our lives. To this day, I still remember the look of disappointment in my mother's eyes, the first time I ever saw my proud, resilient mother quietly wipe away her tears. My mother used a tissue to gently dry my tears. "If you don't want to apply to University A, I won't force you. It's just that I truly believe you have what it takes to get in." I sniffled, trying to hold back my emotions. "No, I promise you, I will get in." My mom didn't doubt my sincerity. She smiled with relief and said, "All right." I could clearly tell my mom was in a great mood the whole way. She even played a song, which was a rare treat. By the time my mom drove us back, it was already getting dark. Just as she parked, a Rolls-Royce pulled up right beside us. When we saw who got out, both my mom and I were stunned, and Jiang Shiyu, standing across from us, was equally frozen in surprise. A high school student stepped out of the luxury car. It's hard not to let the imagination run wild. But then, the car's owner got out, intimately wrapped his arm around Jiang Shiyu's waist, and exchanged a few pleasantries with my mom about company matters, all with a smile. The man was around 40, with a wife and daughter, and was still married. The more I looked at him, the more familiar he seemed. Without thinking, I asked, "Sir, do you run an entertainment company?" The man answered with a smile. Yes, I remembered. In my past life, He was the financial backer behind Jiang Shiyu. It was his money that propelled her to the status of a rising star. Jiang Shiyu's face turned several shades paler. She hadn't expected to run into us and didn't dare to look up, like a child caught doing something wrong. Ms. Nya, Mingyue. My mother shot her a cold glance before pulling me away. There's no need to explain anything to us. Honestly, I had no idea Jiang Shiyu was being kept by someone back in high school. She always struck me as the picture of pure innocence, but looking at it now, she's not innocent at all. Perhaps from the very moment she got my father to acknowledge her, her plan was to latch onto a more powerful branch of the family. After all, nobody wants to live under someone else's roof their whole life. After we got home, my mother didn't cut off Jiang Shiyu's allowance because of this incident. On the contrary, she continued to give her 10,000 a month as usual. What was surprising was that Jiang Shiyu, for once, actually knocked on my bedroom door. I saw her standing outside the door. What is it? Jiang Shiyu bit her lip. Mingyue, could you please not tell anyone what you saw tonight? Even if Jiang Shiyu hadn't stressed it, I wouldn't have said anything. After all, it's not like we have any real beef. I nodded and was about to close the door when I heard Jiang Shiyu continue. Mingyue, I'm not like you. You were born with a silver spoon in your mouth, adored by everyone, while I've had to fight for everything on my own. Even a little gossip can shatter me. I wish I had a family that doted on me like yours, and I don't want to be a kept woman either, but I have nothing. Is she trying to guilt-trip me? My mother has already gone above and beyond for her. While she may not have treated her as well as she treats me, she never shortchanged her on living expenses. She chose to throw her life away, yet she tries to justify it with such a high-sounding excuse, utterly ridiculous, with the final year of high school being so hectic. I didn't have the time to worry about other things. I just focused on grinding through practice problems every day. All I want is to change the fate of my past life. Meanwhile, Pei Mingyan and Jiang Shiyu grew closer. He would buy her all sorts of snacks during the long break, and they started walking to and from school together. Sometimes, you could even spot Pei Mingyan walking Jiang Shiyu to the bus stop, noticing me staring right at them. Pei Mingyan instinctively pulled Jiang Shiyu behind him. As if afraid I might do something to her, I simply averted my gaze, my expression indifferent. Seeing this scene now, my heart remains utterly unperturbed. In my past life, I would have surely thrown a fit with Pei Mingyan, but now, I am nothing but an emotionless study machine. However, I did notice that Pei Mingyan was wearing clothes from the same brand I had bought for him in my previous life. I remember this brand is really expensive. Where did he get the money? I was only puzzled for a moment before shifting my focus. Because the midterm exam results were out, I managed to squeeze into the top 5 in the class, with Pei Mingyan just one spot ahead of me, while Jiang Shiyu fell out of the top 10, but I was still dozens of points short of getting into University A. As soon as the report cards came out, a lot of my classmates suspected I had cheated, though none dared say it to my face. They only whispered about it behind my back. Then one day, as I was coming out of the restroom and passing by the faculty office, I overheard Jiang Shiyu asking our homeroom teacher, "Teacher, how did Jiang Mingyue manage to jump from the bottom of the class all the way to the top 5? Does she have some secret study method?" She might as well have outright tattled to the teacher. She was implying I cheated. The homeroom teacher thought Jiang Shiyu genuinely wanted to know my study techniques, so she suggested I share them at the next class meeting. This fell far short of Jiang Shiyu's expectations. She tried a different approach. "Teacher, don't you think her improvement is too rapid? How could anyone memorize that much material in just 2 weeks?" The homeroom teacher shut her down with a single retort. "You should worry about why you've regressed so much first." Even though I couldn't see Jiang Shiyu's face, I knew her expression must have darkened. Hearing footsteps, I deliberately waited for her outside. Jiang Shiyu was taken aback when she saw me. "Mingyue, what are you doing here?" I shot her a glance. "If you're going to tattle, at least have the decency to do it behind my back." Jiang Shiyu's face flushed a deep crimson. "Mingyue, let me explain, you've got it all wrong." I had no desire to hear her explanation. The moment I stepped out of the academic building, someone grabbed my arm. I looked closely and saw it was Pei Mingyan's mother. But in my previous life, I didn't cross paths with her until university. Mrs. Pei, looking somewhat embarrassed, let go of my hand. "Are you all right, dear? I didn't hurt you, did I?" The moment she spoke, a strong smell of cigarette smoke hit me, and I instinctively took 2 steps back. "Daughter-in-law." My first thought was that Mother Pei had also been reborn. Suppressing my disgust, I said, Auntie, you've mistaken me for someone else, Mrs. Pei chuckled, revealing her smoke-stained teeth. Don't be shy, young lady. Ming Yan told me everything. He said the two of you are dating, not a rebirth. But when did I ever date Pei Ming Yan? I kept my tone polite. Auntie, you've really got the wrong idea. Pei Ming Yan and I are just classmates. Seeing that I wouldn't admit it, Mrs. Pei opened her phone's photo album. She compared my face to the girl in the picture and declared, yes, it's definitely you. I took a look and was utterly shocked. It was indeed a photo of me. Mrs. Pei seemed to realize something. Anger flashed across her face as she grabbed a fistful of my hair. I get it now, she spat. My son has spent so much money on you. Are you trying to leave him, you little brat? Come with me to see your homeroom teacher. I was dragged to the office. The teachers hadn't left the school yet. Mrs. Pei shoved me in front of the homeroom teacher. Mr. Jiang, look at your precious student. She's been toying with my son's feelings. My son told me he was dating Jiang Mingyue. So I gave him thousands of yuan to buy her things. Now she's taken the gifts and wants nothing to do with him. She had a very loud voice. It drew the attention of the other teachers. Even though I didn't do it, I was still utterly mortified. The last person I ever want to be associated with in this life is Mother Pei. Pei's mother is a real snob who looks down on the poor and fawns over the rich. In my past life, she came to me in secret time and again, asking for money to pay off her gambling debts. All told, it added up to tens of millions. Looking back now, I feel like such a sucker. My face flushed bright red. I told you, you've got the wrong person. My family's financial situation is such that I wouldn't even glance at the few thousand your son has. Pei's mother was unfazed. She stubbornly insisted I was the one being a gold-digging snob. The homeroom teacher, who knew my family was quite well off, suggested, why don't we call Pei Mingyan over here to sort this out face to face? Pei's mother immediately called Pei Mingyan. He didn't want to come at first, but his mother's voice boomed, if you don't show up, I'll beat you to a pulp. Pei Mingyan arrived over 10 minutes later. A blissful smile was still on his face, but it gradually stiffened when he saw me in the office. Before Pei Mingyan arrived, I had a pretty good idea why his mother had misunderstood me. He must have asked her for money under the pretense of being in a relationship with me. How else could he afford all those designer clothes? Honestly, that's a pretty despicable thing to do. The homeroom teacher asked point blank, Pei Mingyan, are you and Jiang Mingyue dating? Pei Mingyan remained silent. He looked at me with hopeful expectation. I knew he wanted me to cover for him. If I didn't agree, given Madame Pei's temperament, she would never let the matter rest. Why on earth should I help him? We're not even related. I turned my head away, making my refusal perfectly clear. If I made the same mistake again, I'd be a complete idiot. Left with no other choice, Pei Mingyan had no option but to grit his teeth and admit it. Yes, Jiang Mingyue and I are indeed seeing each other. Mrs. Pei clapped her hands gleefully. See? I told you they were dating, and they still wouldn't admit it. What good is coming from a wealthy family if your character is rotten? It's all for nothing. Only my son would ever look your way. You should be grateful. The homeroom teacher and the other instructors were all looking at me. Jiang Mingyue, is this true? I could hardly believe my ears. I can't believe Pei Mingyan would say that. He's free to chase his so-called love. But how dare he expect me to pay for it with my reputation? I gave a cold laugh. You claim we were a couple. Then show me the proof. Show me a single receipt, a single record of you ever spending a dime on me. Seeing I wasn't backing down, Pei's mother grew impatient. Son, pull up the transfer records and shove them in her face. Let's see how long her stubborn act lasts. Pei Mingyan simply couldn't produce the records. First, we're not a couple, and second, all that money was spent on him and Jiang Shiyu. Seeing Pei Mingyan hesitate, his mother gave him an impatient nudge. Show us the records, she urged. Only then did Pei Mingyan reluctantly pull out his phone. He showed Pei's mother everything except the bank transfer records. She was absolutely thrilled and made a point of showing each teacher. Just look at all the money my son spent on her, and she still stubbornly refuses to admit it. Just as Mrs. Pei turned her accusation squarely on me. That's when my mom showed up. What's going on? Even though I'm mentally in my 30s, my eyes still lit up the moment I saw my mom arrive. Mom, seeing my mother dressed so elegantly, Mrs. Pei sidled up to her, trying to cozy up. She then proceeded to recount the whole incident, embellishing it with extra details, claiming I had poor character and had deceived her son's affections. My mother simply asked one question, is what she said true? I shook my head. I didn't. My mother didn't press further. She walked up to Pei Mingyan. My advice is to tell the truth, otherwise, I'll have to take legal action. You wouldn't want to ruin your future at such a young age, would you? Pei Mingyan was so nervous his palms were sweating. No matter how many times he met my mother, he was always intimidated by her presence. Mrs. Pei was displeased to hear this and stepped in front of Pei Mingyan. Are you threatening my son? My mother pushed Mrs. Pei aside. I'm talking to your son, not to you. You'd better mind your manners, Mrs. Pei. You, having been given a second chance at life, Pei Mingyan would never throw away his future. All he could do was state the facts clearly. I'm sorry, Auntie, I just lied. Jiang Mingyue and I are not in a relationship. Pei's mother thought he was scared and grabbed his arm, trying to press the matter further, but he shook her hand off. Mom, my girlfriend is someone else, not Jiang Mingyue. Pei's mother's eyes widened, and she immediately slapped Pei Mingyan across the face. Right in front of all the teachers in the office, she was ready to give him a beating. Who is that bitch you're talking about? Pei's mother didn't spare Pei Mingyan a shred of dignity. Slaps, punches, and kicks. If they'd had their tools and the homeroom teacher hadn't intervened, he'd have been beaten to a pulp right then and there. Even so, Pei Mingyan never once mentioned Jiang Shiyu's name, but there was no way I was going to let him have his way. Auntie, perhaps you could go ask Jiang Shiyu. I didn't look at Pei Mingyan's expression. I just took my mom and left. I had no reason to be the scapegoat for his love life. The next day, my deskmate told me that Mrs. Pei had forced Pei Mingyan to take her to find Jiang Shiyu that night, accusing her of seducing her son. Mrs. Pei slapped her hard across the face, twice, knocking out 2 of her teeth. The whole school found out about this mess. The next day, Jiang Shiyu walked into the classroom, her face still badly swollen. My deskmate couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. Hearing this, Jiang Shiyu buried her head in her arms on the desk and cried, utterly humiliated. Not long after, Pei Mingyan told his homeroom teacher he was dropping out. Rumor had it his mother refused to let him continue his education, threatening to beat him to death if he didn't quit school. The homeroom teacher didn't even try to talk him out of it and agreed immediately. In truth, Pei Mingyan had a remarkable talent for medicine. Had he followed the path of his previous life, he would have undoubtedly made outstanding contributions to the field. What a shame to lose such a brilliant doctor. That's all there is to it. After Pei Mingyan dropped out, I rarely saw him again. It was as if he had faded from my life. Then one evening, while I was walking my dog, I happened to see him coming to see Jiang Shiyu. I was about to leave when I heard Pei Mingyan's voice, thick with intense emotion. Jiang Shiyu. It's not like I can't afford to support you. Why would you stoop so low as to be with him? Jiang Shiyu retorted sarcastically. Support me? By continuing to swindle money from your mother to support me, or by working in a factory tightening screws for 2,000 yuan a month to support me? Pei Mingyan, it's not that I look down on you, but my monthly allowance alone is 10,000 yuan. Do you really think you're good enough for me? Pei Mingyan stared at Jiang Shiyu in shock. So, you never liked me at all. Then why did you help me when I was being isolated? Jiang Shiyu sneered. I would have helped anyone. Who knew you'd get so moved and develop feelings? And don't contact me again. I've had enough of you. As it turned out, Pei Mingyan had wanted to give Jiang Shiyu a surprise, only to find her in a cozy embrace with her sugar daddy. It was at that moment Pei Mingyan realized the woman he had loved for 10 years had never loved him back, or perhaps she had only ever pitied him from the very beginning. In my past life, I yearned for Pei Mingyan in vain. In this life, he yearns for Jiang Shiyu in vain. It's nothing but poetic justice. I had no interest in eavesdropping any longer and just wanted to take my dog home, but then my dog suddenly bolted out. Woof. Pei Mingyan looked utterly devastated. I was like a lost soul. Well, in my past life, I only had eyes for him. You could say he basked in the adoration I showered on him. How could he possibly accept such a drastic change in status? Jiang Shiyu, however, looked at me nervously. Mingyue. She was afraid I'd tell her sugar daddy. I quickly cut her off. Don't worry. My lips are sealed. Just as I bent down to pick up the dog, Pei Mingyan called out to me. Jiang Mingyue, don't you have a crush on me? What do you mean? You're keeping me as a backup, I said coldly. Are you out of your mind? There's no way I could like you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Jiang Shiyu had no memory of her past life. Confused by the situation, she asked blankly, Pei Mingyan, what do you mean by that? Pei Mingyan treated Jiang Shiyu as if she were air. He grabbed me firmly. Mingyue, let's make this life a good one together. You've loved me for 10 years. How could you just stop loving me like that? Pei Mingyan's behavior made me laugh in sheer exasperation. I haven't forgotten the look of disgust in his eyes when he looked at me. And now you're trying to use me to make Jiang Shiyu jealous. I raised my hand and slapped Pei Mingyan across the face. Pei Mingyan, have you no shame? I rushed home and immediately took a shower. I was terrified of having picked up the virus. As I dried my hair, I thought back to my past life. Why on earth did I ever fall for Pei Mingyan? Was it simply because he was the only one who ever reached out to me? Perhaps it was that cool, fragile air about him that made me want to be kinder to him. In the end, that unrequited love became my obsession. So you see, a girl really should find someone who truly loves her. Ever since that day, I kept running into Pei Mingyan on my way to school. He was still wearing his factory uniform, looking all dusty and faded, having lost his former shine. You could tell he was in a bad way. Without me there, Mother Pei's gambling debts were a bottomless pit. He didn't have the money to cover Mother Pei's debts. I was about to walk past him like I always did, but this time he called out to me, "Ming, you." His voice was soft and gentle. It left me feeling a little dazed. I stopped in my tracks. Is something wrong? Pei Mingyan clenched his fist. Hesitating, "Ming, you, I have to ask, is there still a chance for us?" I looked up at Pei Mingyan. His eyes were dull and lifeless, just like when he found out Jiang Shiyu had gotten married, utterly devastated. But you know what? Pei Mingyan is no longer worthy of me. I even regret ever falling for him. I threw myself completely into my studies. In the first major mock exam, I broke into the top 10 of my grade. My mom was so moved and proud that she wiped away tears. Yeah, I knew you could do it. Honestly, my mom isn't trying to force me into university A. It's just that she's fixated on it. She missed the admission cutoff by 1 point back in her day, so she's pinned all her hopes on me. But I've never been a good student. I just agreed to give her some peace of mind, never thinking I'd actually have a shot at getting in. Jiang Shiyu saw this and gave me a fake, saccharine compliment about how impressive I was and how I might get into university A. Then, almost as an afterthought, she mentioned to my mom that she was going to become a trainee. My mom wouldn't have stopped her anyway. She was just letting us know. I wasn't surprised. In my past life, Jiang Shiyu also became a trainee right before the college entrance exams. I didn't think much of it at the time. I just thought she was being a bit stubborn. Now, I just think she's quite independent-minded. After the obligatory small talk, Jiang Shiyu went upstairs. I was about to grind through a few more practice problems when, after just 2, I heard someone calling my name from downstairs. "Jiang, Mingyue." Looking down from upstairs, I saw it was Pei Mingyan. He was completely drunk, swaying unsteadily on his feet. I really didn't want to go down to see him, but if I didn't, he just kept shouting my name from below, worried he'd disturb the neighbors. I had no choice but to go downstairs, only to find my mother coming down in her pajamas. She grabbed my arm. "Yeah, don't go. I've been having these dreams lately where you cut ties with me over Pei Mingyan. I'll call security to have him thrown out." I was stunned and looked up at my mother. I noticed the wrinkles at the corners of her eyes. I gently patted her hand. "It's okay, Mom. Dreams are the opposite of reality, a second chance at life." How could I bear to disappoint the mother who loves me most? Seeing me appear, Pei Mingyan stumbled over. "Ming, you. It's all my fault. I was a fool. Blind to Jiang Shiyu's true nature. I hurt you again and again. Can you ever forgive me?" Hearing these words, I felt nothing inside. It's only after Jiang Shiyu broke his heart that he remembers how I was good to him. But no one is willing to wait around for someone forever. I plan to lay all my cards on the table tonight, otherwise, Pei Mingyan would keep pestering me. The college entrance exam is in just 2 weeks, and I don't have time for his nonsense. I looked up at Pei Mingyan. "Pei Mingyan, do you know there's a life debt between us? You're the one who killed me with your own hands. How big of a heart do you think I have to accept that my future husband is my own murderer? Even if he didn't kill me, I wouldn't choose him again either. It's just too exhausting." Pei Mingyan stared at me blankly, his lips parting slightly. "What if I gave my life back to you?" I just took it as him speaking in anger. "Suit yourself. Don't come looking for me again." I never saw Pei Mingyan again after that day. Perhaps he finally came to his senses and decided to stop bothering me. But the day before the college entrance exam, I received a text from an unknown number. "Whatever you want, I'll make it happen for you." My gut told me it was from Pei Mingyan, but with the college entrance exam tomorrow, I put the matter out of my mind. The exam went smoothly. I estimated my score would be about 20 points above last year's cutoff, so I felt pretty confident. My mom came to pick me up in person, putting her arm around my shoulder. it's okay, getting into University A isn't what's important. I've seen all the effort you've put in, and I'm already so proud and satisfied." She was the one who was clearly nervous. But I didn't call my mom out on it, I just said, "Okay." My mom took me to eat at Myunji. While we were waiting for our food, a picture message suddenly popped up on my phone. I was so startled I nearly threw my phone. Jiang Shiyu lay in a pool of blood, her eyes fixed on me in a deathly stare. Immediately after, Pei Mingyan's text message popped up. "Mingyue, I've killed Jiang Shiyu to repay the life I owe you. This proves to you I could never love her, so, can we be together?" A cold sweat broke out on my skin. Why is Pei Mingyan so extreme in this life? He's the one who killed me, yet he thinks I'm blaming Jiang Shiyu. Does he really believe he's not at fault at all? It took me a long moment to collect myself before I called the police. This time, I wouldn't make the wrong choice again. 2 days later, Pei Mingyan was apprehended. However, he was diagnosed with a mental illness, which spared him from execution. Instead, he was committed to a psychiatric hospital. I suppose, in this life, he ruined his own future for Jiang Shiyu. He lost everything for her and simply couldn't handle the fall from grace. Perhaps he never truly wanted to be with me. He just wanted to use me to turn his life around. Honestly, any of those possibilities could be true, but I'm grateful that in this life, I have no ties to him whatsoever. On the day the college entrance exam results came out, my mom was even more nervous than I was, pulling me to sit in front of the computer to wait for the report. "Oh my, why aren't the results out yet? This is killing me with anxiety." It was supposed to be me checking the scores, but my mom was more anxious than I was. I ended up having to comfort her. "It's fine, it should be out soon." When the results finally came out, my mom was the one who got cold feet and couldn't bring herself to look. "You take a look, what's the score?" I glanced at the score, 649, just as I expected. My mom was so thrilled she nearly jumped for joy, hugging, kissing, and squeezing me. When it came time to fill out my college applications, I got my wish and put down University A. It made up for a lifetime of regret. I took the chance during summer break to go see Pei Mingyan. He was as thin as a rake. I almost didn't recognize him. He brought this on himself. Heaven gave him a second chance. And all he could think about was romance. Thankfully, I made the right choice this time. The end. Story 2. At the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau, my boyfriend rushed to the hospital in a panic after learning that his secretary had fainted. After waiting for what felt like an eternity, he called and said, "Lila is pregnant, and the child is mine. I have to take responsibility." "How do you plan to take responsibility?" I gritted my teeth, suppressing the emotions about to explode. He said, "After she gives birth, I'll send her abroad immediately, never to see her again. You'll be the only mother the child knows. Let's postpone the marriage registration and wedding. We'll discuss everything after the baby is born." I laughed coldly. "You're really dreaming." "Does he, Milo Chin, really think I can't live without him?" I dialed the phone number of the young Master Li. "Didn't you beg for a chance? If you can appear in front of me tomorrow morning, I'll marry you." After gathering my emotions, I took a taxi back to the place I once believed was a haven of happiness. As soon as I entered, I saw Milo Chin bending his head to peel an orange for Lila Lin. His movements were slow and meticulous, his fingertips gently removing every bit of white pith from each segment before personally feeding the orange to Lila Lin's lips. Lila Lin blinked her eyes, took a bite, and cooed. "The orange peeled by Milo is so sweet and delicious. Eat slowly, no one's competing with you. All the ones I peel are for you." Milo Chin looked so gentle, in a way I'd never seen before. My heart suddenly turned cold. Last year when I was hospitalized, he came to visit. I said I wanted to eat an apple, but he frowned in annoyance and casually tossed me an orange instead. "Peel it yourself, I've got things to do." Love and indifference have long been distinguished in these trivial matters. I used to deceive myself, believing that as long as I remained loyal to him, he would never betray me. Lila Lin looked up and noticed me. "Sister Noah, you're back," she feigned surprise, widening her eyes, but they couldn't conceal the smugness and provocation within. "Would you like some oranges?" Milo peeled them himself. "They're very sweet." My throat tightened, but I still replied indifferently, "I don't like oranges." Only then did Milo Chin turn around. Seeing it was me, the tenderness on his face instantly vanished, leaving only a trace of impatience and coldness. "Why are you back so late?" He didn't even let go of Lila Lin's hand as he spoke. Perfect timing. "I have something to tell you." "We have nothing to say." I was exhausted, unwilling to watch them flaunt their affection or waste another word on them. but before I could take 2 steps, Milo Chin grabbed me, pulled me to the sofa, and pressed me firmly against the backrest without room for refusal. His tone left no room for argument. During this time, you'll quit your job and stay home to take care of Lila until she gives birth. From now on, you'll learn to cook meals for pregnant women, ensuring she eats well and sleeps well. Also, Lila is allergic to mangoes and peanuts, and don't let her touch cold water. Listening to his commanding instructions, I found it utterly absurd. Sorry, I don't have the habit of serving mistresses. Let your mother take care of her personally. He frowned and glared at me displeased. Noah, this is your responsibility. Why should it be my responsibility? I'm not the one who got her pregnant, I roared back. Lila Lynn suddenly covered her face and began to sob, looking at me with tearful eyes. Sister Noah, I'm sorry, I know you must hate me to death, but I didn't come to break up this family. I just wanted to give birth to the baby safely. Milo Chin immediately pulled her into his arms, heartbroken. Don't cry, Lila, this isn't your fault. You don't need to apologize to anyone. Then he turned to me with a self-righteously understanding and magnanimous expression, as if I were the unreasonable one. Noah, I know you're still angry. This is indeed my fault. That night at the business dinner, I shouldn't have drunk so much and mistaken Lila for you. Since things have happened, we can only face them. After the child is born, we'll register it under our names. After all, you have uterine coldness and can hardly get pregnant. Now you get to be a mother. How wonderful. Every word he spoke felt like a knife slicing through my heart, making it bleed profusely, yet I couldn't utter a single cry of pain. No need for all this trouble. My voice trembled, but I tried to stay composed. Milo Chin, let's break up. What did you say? Break up? Milo Chin's voice suddenly rose sharply. He seemed to have heard the biggest joke in the world. Sneering as he stepped closer to me, mocking me. Noah Yun, do you really have the heart to break up with me? Don't forget, you were the one begging me to get married, begging me to hold the wedding. Enough, stop making a scene. There's a limit to throwing tantrums. If you keep this up, I might actually take it seriously. My heart jolted violently, my fingertips trembling slightly. Yet I still raised my head to meet his unfamiliar gaze. Yes, I was the one who proposed getting the marriage certificate, and I also insisted on having the wedding, because I really wanted to have a home, and I also wanted to fulfill Uncle Chin's dying wish. I'm an orphan, originally. I should have started working right after finishing middle school. It was Uncle Chin who kindly sponsored me, not only supporting me through high school but also funding my college education, and even financing my research projects. Unfortunately, the good times didn't last long. Uncle Chin's company went bankrupt due to malicious competition from rivals. The blow was too much for him, and he fell seriously ill, never to recover. Before his passing, he held my hand and Milo Chin's, saying to me, Noah, you're a good child, how I wish you could become my daughter-in-law, but alas, I won't live to see it. Milo needs your help. I believe in you. To repay Mr. Chin's kindness, I sold my patent to support Milo Chin's startup. Those years of starting the business were truly as bitter as sinking into a quagmire. We squeezed into a tiny 30-square-meter apartment. He ran around meeting clients during the day, while I stayed up late at night working on proposals. At our poorest, we split a single bucket of instant noodles into 2 meals, saving the rest of the money to buy meat for Chin's mother. I vomited blood from stomach pain, yet he still forced himself to attend social events, saying, Noah, just hold on a little longer. We're almost through the worst of it. Once, he came home drunk, hugged me, and cried, once the company takes off, I'll marry you for sure. I'll throw you the grandest wedding the city has ever seen. Back then, though life was tough, our bond was stronger than gold. After 7 years, we succeeded. The company turned profitable. We upgraded to a bigger house, and even got a car. Yet Milo Chin never made any gestures toward me. Instead, he was always seen coming and going with the new secretary, Lila Lynn. Ironically, Lila Lynn was the impoverished student I sponsored, and I also made an exception to let her intern at the company. At first, Milo Chin looked down on Lila Lynn, saying she was clumsy, couldn't make coffee or use the printer, and only knew how to cry. Later, he said Lila Lynn was very resilient, and when talking about her, he couldn't help but smile. Then, he left me alone in the restaurant for Lila Lynn. He missed an important meeting because of her minor cold, and when Lila Lynn and I both liked the same necklace, he bought it first and gave it to her. Rumors are spreading in the company, with some people secretly mocking me, the old hag, about whether I'm going to step down. I don't care about these meaningless comments, but I need Milo Chin to give me a clear stance. I asked him, what exactly is your relationship with Lila Lin? If you really like her, just break up with me cleanly. Don't drag it out like this. He frowned impatiently. Stop making a scene. I only see Lila as a little sister. Besides, you were the one who recommended her to be my secretary. Noah, you're the only one in my heart, the only one I love. Can you stop overthinking and making unreasonable fuss all day? You're really acting like a shrew. Why can't you be as lively and cheerful as Lila? There was a time when all he talked about was Lila. Lila, perhaps I was still a bit unwilling to accept it. So I forced him to make a choice. Fine, since you say you only love me, then fulfill your promise immediately, marry me right now, and hold the wedding right after we get the marriage certificate. His face froze instantly, and after a long hesitation, he finally nodded and agreed to arrange a time to register our marriage with me. Looking back now, in fact, from the moment he hesitated, this relationship was already over, but at that time I was unwilling to admit this truth. I raised my head and looked directly into Milo Chin's eyes, my voice eerily calm, almost cold. I'm not throwing a tantrum, I mean every word. Let's break up, Milo Chin. I wish your family of 3 happiness. He froze, as if he hadn't expected me to be so straightforward. Noah Yun, I don't have time for your games. His tone carried both anger and disbelief. I shook off his hand and didn't spare him another glance, walking straight toward the bedroom under his stunned gaze. The moment I pushed open the door, my entire body stiffened. The familiar bedroom had become unrecognizable. My clothes, books, and personal belongings were all gone, replaced by Lila Lin's sweet, pastel maternity dresses and her favorite teddy bear pillow. What shattered me even more was that the pair of stained glass bedside lamps, which should have been on either side of the bed, were completely broken, their fragments swept into the trash bin in the room. My heart felt as if it had been pierced by a sharp knife, and my hands trembled uncontrollably. That was a gift made for me by the orphanage's mother and the children, symbolizing many children, many blessings. They saved money by cutting back on food and expenses to buy the materials, and every stitch was filled with their blessings. My breathing instantly became erratic as I rushed out of the room and demanded, where are my things? And who broke my bedside lamp? Milo Chin frowned and waved his hand impatiently. Your things have been moved to the guest room. Lila is pregnant now and needs a sense of security, so I'll be staying with her in the master bedroom for the time being. You can sleep in the guest room. As for the bedside lamp, before he could finish, Lila Lin suddenly ran over, grabbed both of my hands, and burst into tears, looking pitiful and delicate like a weeping flower. Sister Noah, I'm sorry, I accidentally broke the bedside lamp. I really didn't mean to. Can you forgive me? Ridiculous. Those were 2 separate bedside lamps placed on either side. How could she accidentally break both at once? Stop pretending to be innocent, I sneered, forcefully shaking off her hand. Lila Lin, have you had enough of acting? Back when I was supporting you, I never imagined you'd one day use such tricks against me. She collapsed to the ground, clutching her stomach tightly with both hands, and cried out loudly, ah. My stomach hurts so much, Milo. It hurts so much. The next second, a sharp slap landed on my face. Snap, the sudden blow caught me off guard, causing me to lose my balance. My forehead hit the corner of the wall, and a wave of dizziness washed over me. Noah Yun, how much could these worthless lamps possibly be worth that you'd drive Lila to death? When did you become so cruel? I'm so disappointed in you. Milo Chin gritted his teeth, his eyes red as he picked up Lila Lin and snarled at me. If anything happens to Lila or the baby, I swear I'll make you pay with your life. Blood trickled down from my temple, its metallic tang sliding into my mouth. I touched the wound and saw the bright crimson glistening on my fingertips, yet I felt no pain, only a chilling numbness spreading through my body. I took off the titanium steel ring he had bought for me during our hardest times 7 years ago and tossed it onto the coffee table. After packing my luggage, I left immediately, but it seemed like the heavens were against me. As soon as I stepped out, the rain poured down. Without an umbrella, I had no choice but to dash through the rain, but just as I was about to rush into the street, a man suddenly blocked my path. With one hand, he held an umbrella steadily over my head, shielding me from the pouring rain, while his other warm, large palm gently pressed against my forehead, carefully wiping away the blood. His brows were filled with worry and restraint, yet he glared at me with forced composure. Noah Yun, are you an idiot? How dare you run outside bleeding like this without even bandaging it? What if the rain soaks your wound and you get a fever? Li Qianan, how could you? My voice was hoarse beyond recognition. rain mixing with blood as it streamed down my temples, utterly disheveled. He didn't respond, only raised the umbrella higher, enveloping me completely in his embrace. "Don't speak, I'm taking you to the hospital first." His tone brooked no argument as his warm palm firmly grasped my hand. At that moment, I unexpectedly felt like crying. When we reached the emergency room, the doctor treated my wound while he kept tightly holding my fingers, as if afraid I might vanish the next second. As the alcohol stung my skin, I couldn't help but gasp in pain. He immediately whispered comfortingly, "If it hurts, just pinch me. Don't try to tough it out." After the bandaging was done, he helped fetch the medicine and pay the fees, every movement swift and decisive, without the slightest hesitation or complaint. Outside the hospital, the heavy rain still hadn't stopped. He opened the umbrella, shielding me from the wind and rain on his side. "Let's go. We'll buy some things at the supermarket. You're staying with me tonight." All the way, he held my hand, as if we had returned to the days when we lived together in the orphanage. Li Qiaonan was once a child in the orphanage too, but he was different from me. I was sent to the orphanage because both my parents had passed away and I had no other relatives. He was trafficked, changed hands multiple times, and temporarily couldn't find his biological parents, so he was sent to the orphanage. He is very smart. He taught himself middle school material while still in elementary school. Thanks to his tutoring, my academic performance ranked at the top of the class. He has a knack for making money, and whenever he earned some, he would buy candy for the children at the orphanage, keeping a small portion to secretly take me out to eat, ordering my favorite steamed egg with minced meat. I thought we would continue to grow up so simply and happily, but later, his biological parents came for him. According to the headmistress, his family was a wealthy and influential one in the capital. Before leaving, he held my hand and told me not to forget him, that he would come back for me, but we met again too late. At that time, Mr. Qin had just passed away, and I promised to stay by Milo Qin's side to help him. In truth, I always knew that Li Qiaonan was secretly helping me, especially during the most difficult times when Milo Qin and I were starting our business. It was he who extended a helping hand and became our first client. On the day he learned I was about to get married, he drank heavily and called me, his voice choked with tears, saying, "Noah, please don't marry that scumbag Milo Qin. He doesn't deserve you. He's already betrayed you. I don't want to wish you and Milo Qin happiness at all. I can't say it. I just can't bring myself to. I've liked you for so many years. Could you just turn around and look at me, please? Li Qiaonan, you're drunk. Go to sleep." I hung up the phone, dismissing his words as drunken ramblings. There's no denying, calling Li Qiaonan and saying I'd marry him if he showed up tomorrow was partly out of spite, but he actually showed up. After shopping at the supermarket, he took me home and cooked for me. I watched him swiftly wash vegetables and chop meat in the kitchen. The sound of the spatula flipping mingled with the aroma of scallions, ginger, and garlic. Before long, a table of vibrant dishes was served. All my favorites, especially that steamed egg with minced meat. "Try it." He scooped a spoonful of egg custard and held it out to me. "Does it still taste like it did when you were little?" My throat tightened a little as I lowered my head to take a bite. Tender, smooth, and delicate, it was the gentle flavor from my memories. "What's wrong? Not to your taste?" Li Qiaonan crouched down to meet my eye level and asked cautiously. "No, it's delicious." I shook my head, but couldn't stop my nose from stinging. "I didn't expect you to still remember I love these." He smiled. "I remember everything about you. Thinking about all these years with Milo Qin, I've cooked countless meals for him, yet he's never once cooked for me, at most making a bowl of instant noodles, and even those were half raw. And now, someone remembers my taste preferences, preparing every dish just the way I like it, all to make me happy. By the way, why did you suddenly show up? Weren't you supposed to be on a business trip today?" Recalling the background noise during our call, it sounded like he was at the airport terminal. Li Qiaonan looked up at me, his gaze incredibly earnest. "Compared to business, my wife is obviously more important." My heart inexplicably skipped a beat, and I instinctively averted my gaze. "Who's your wife?" Yet he grabbed my hand. "I've already appeared before you ahead of time. You can't go back on your word, you have to marry me. We'll get our marriage certificate tomorrow. This time, no matter what, I won't let go of your hand." I thought of how I had humbly begged Milo Qin to get our marriage certificate with me, only to be met with his hesitation and impatience. At this moment, I suddenly realized, why should I tread carefully and compromise myself, waiting for someone to bestow a promise upon me? Allowing someone who doesn't love me to hurt me is the greatest harm I could do to myself. Alright, I replied softly. Tomorrow we'll go to the civil affairs office together. Li Qiaonan froze for a second, then beamed like a child. As for our wedding, it's set in 3 days, he continued. After you called me, I immediately told my parents that I was going to marry you and asked them to hurry up and help prepare the wedding. 3 days, that's way too soon, I said in shock. He nodded with feigned seriousness. If we wait any longer, what if you change your mind? I didn't know whether to laugh or cry and told him, I won't go back on my word. Li Qiaonan reached out to hug me, resting his chin on my shoulder and murmuring softly, Noah, I feel like I'm dreaming a little. My nose tingled with emotion, but I couldn't help curling the corners of my lips. This isn't a dream. It's the beginning of our new life. After dinner, Li Qiaonan cleared the dishes and took me to the room to rest. I had just lain down on the bed when my phone suddenly vibrated. The name Mother Qin popped up on the screen, and I instinctively frowned. As soon as the call connected, her familiar yet grating voice pierced my ears. I already know about Lila's pregnancy. It's not a big deal, men. It's normal for them to have women outside. Besides, with a son as outstanding as mine, there are plenty of women throwing themselves at him. To put it bluntly, if it weren't for old Qin naming you as his daughter-in-law on his deathbed, an orphan like you would never be worthy of stepping through the doors of our Qin family. She let out a cold laugh. Now listen carefully, serve Lila Lin well and give birth to that child, otherwise, I will never acknowledge you as my daughter-in-law. The corner of my lips curled into a sneer. You old hag, your words are truly enlightening. Rich men should all keep mistresses and turn their lawful wives into maids. Seems like you've had plenty of experience serving as a maid to mistresses yourself. There was a stunned silence on the other end of the line for a second before her voice suddenly rose an octave. Noah Yun, shut your mouth. You have no say in this family. If I tell you to serve Lila Lin, you will do as you're told. Save it. Your so-called family has nothing to do with me. I cut her off. Milo Qin and I have already broken up. Find whoever you want to be your daughter-in-law, but leave me alone, you old hag. You, how can you be so ill-mannered? She was so angry her breathing became rapid, wanting to scold me, but I had already hung up and blocked her. No sooner had I put down the phone than it rang again. This time, it was Milo Qin. Frowning, I answered the call, only to be met with his furious command. Noah Yun, get to the hospital right now and kneel to apologize to Lila. Or we're completely over. Apologize, not a chance. My voice was icy to the extreme. He gnashed his teeth and cursed. You nearly caused Lila to die with her unborn child. Do you even realize how vicious you are? Nearly, that means it didn't actually happen, I scoffed. When Lila Lin really dies with her unborn child, you can just call the police and have me arrested. Furious beyond measure, he probably wished he could strangle me through the phone. Noah Yun, if you keep acting like this, I will absolutely not marry you. That's wonderful, I said cheerfully, as if I'd won the jackpot. I wouldn't want to marry an idiot either. You. He choked on his words, unable to form a complete sentence for a long time. Milo Qin, we've already broken up. There's no need to contact me anymore. I wish the three of you a lifetime of happiness, locked together. With that, I decisively hung up the phone and blocked and deleted all contact information for him and Lila Lin. The night was as dark as ink, and I was wide awake. I put on my coat, ready to go downstairs for some fresh air, only to see Li Qiaonan sitting on the living room sofa, typing on his laptop and handling documents. He looked up and saw me, asking gently, "Can't sleep?" I nodded. He closed his laptop, came over, and took my hand. "Let's go, I'll take you somewhere." He brought me to the riverside. The night breeze brushed against my face, a bit chilly, but the warmth from his palm inexplicably made me feel at ease. I was wondering why we came here. He suddenly stopped in his tracks. "Noah, look at the sky." I looked up to see fireworks soaring into the air, exploding into vast bursts of brilliant light against the deep blue sky, blooming one after another, illuminating the entire riverbank into a dreamlike, fantastical world of colors. The next moment, an even bigger surprise appeared. The fireworks spelled out large characters, Noah Yun. Be happy every day. Tears unexpectedly slipped down as I stared blankly at the person beside me, feeling nothing but sourness and overwhelming emotion in my chest. He reached out and pulled me into his embrace, resting his chin lightly against my forehead. "Little one, from now on, someone will protect your happiness every day. No more letting yourself feel wronged." "Okay," I nodded, my nose tingling with sourness, and leaned into his embrace, silently crying. Early the next morning, Lee Chanan took me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. As soon as we got the red marriage certificate, he acted like a child, taking over a dozen photos of it and posting them everywhere, on his social media, Weibo, and Xiaohongshu, with the caption, "My dear wife, please guide me for the rest of my life." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he pulled me straight to the bridal shop, before I could even pick a style. A familiar yet grating voice exploded behind me, "Noah Yoon. Didn't you say we broke up? Why are you sneaking around trying on wedding dresses?" Milo Chin sneered, looking at me as if I were a clown. He spoke condescendingly, "Apologize to Lila right now, or even if you force me into marriage, I won't marry you. Are you out of your mind?" I rolled my eyes, too tired to deal with these two drama queens. His face darkened instantly as he stepped forward to forcibly grab me, even raising his hand as if to strike. The next second, there was a dull thud. Lee Chaonan swung his fist directly, knocking Milo Chin to the ground. "Dare to touch my wife. How many lives do you think you have?" His voice was low and icy, protective to the point of being utterly unreasonable. Milo Chin was knocked to the ground, covering his face and unable to get up for a long time. Lila Lin immediately rushed over to help him, screaming while wiping her tears, "Sister Noah, how could you do this? Milo loves you so much. How could you cheat on him and try on wedding dresses with another man behind his back? You're acting like such a scumbag." Lee Chanan narrowed his eyes and stared at her. "Miss Lin, I can tolerate you once, but if you dare to insult my wife again, I'll have someone seal your mouth shut." Lila Lin shrank back like a frightened quail under Lee Chanon's imposing aura, cautiously clinging to Milo Chin's arm, not daring to make another sound. Milo Chin finally regained his composure. Glaring at the two of us, what did you just call her, wife?" Lee Chaonan unabashedly wrapped his arm around my waist, flashing the brand new marriage certificate. "Noah is my wife. We're legally married. Got a problem with that?" Milo Chin's eyes widened, and he gritted his teeth. "Fake, Noah Yoon, you've even resorted to making fake documents to force me into marrying you. How utterly pathetic." He suddenly got up and grabbed my arm. "Come with me. Isn't it just getting a marriage certificate? I'll give you what you want." I shook off his hand and slapped him with all my strength. "Wake up, will you? We ended long ago." My voice was icy and resolute, without a trace of lingering affection. Milo Chin covered his face, still refusing to believe my marriage certificate was real. Convinced I would never leave him. "Do you think hiring a man to act with you could fool me? Noah Yoon, you've truly disappointed me." He looked down at me condescendingly. "But considering how much you love me, I can forgive you. Come on, let's go get our marriage license. I'll give you a real one." I glanced at Lila Lin behind him, and her expression changed. I knew she was afraid Milo Chin would really go through with marrying me, which would cost her the title of Mrs. Chin, leaving her forever as the other woman. I curled my lips into a smile, deliberately drawing out my tone. "Oh. Milo Chin, you're saying we should go get our marriage license now. What about Lila Lin, and what will you do with your child, Milo?" Lila Lin suddenly clutched her stomach, looking as if she was in unbearable pain. "It hurts, the baby. Something seems wrong." Milo Chin immediately panicked, turning to look at her, then casting a reluctant glance back at me. In the end, he still turned and gathered Lila Lin into his arms. "Noah, wait for me. Once I've settled Lila, I'll take you abroad immediately, and we'll get married in a castle." After saying that, he carried Lila Lin and left. I rolled my eyes and muttered under my breath, "Idiot." Lee Chaonan wrapped his arm around my shoulder, leaned down, and whispered in my ear. "For a moment there, I was really afraid you'd go with him." I stood on tiptoe and kissed the corner of his mouth. "Don't worry, I don't like idiots." He finally showed a boyish smile and asked seriously, "Then, do you really want to have the wedding in a castle? If I nod now, he will surely bring the most beautiful castle in the world to me." I shook my head and entwined my fingers into his palm. "No need, I don't need a castle. As long as the people I care about are by my side, that's enough." Milo Chin had a splitting headache. He had been working non-stop in the office for 3 days. He didn't know how he had offended the major client, who suddenly announced the termination of cooperation. Shortly after, other clients also successively ended their partnerships. "If this continues, the cash flow will break, and the company will go bankrupt." He was extremely agitated, his mind a tangled mess, and at this very moment, the image of Noah Yoon kept resurfacing in his thoughts. No matter what difficulties he faced before, Noah Yoon would always be by his side. She would calmly analyze the situation while flipping through documents, saying to him, "Just a minor setback," as long as she was there. Even the biggest problems could be easily resolved. He stared at the name in his phone contacts, hesitating whether to call Noah Yun. If I call her now, she'll definitely think I can't live without her, and from then on she'll be able to walk all over me. Noah Yun is perfect in every way, except she's too domineering and opinionated, always being aggressive and suffocating men. Women should return to the family, be good wives and mothers, but right now, he really misses Noah Yun. Just as he made up his mind to call Noah Yun, Lila Lin pushed the door open, carefully cradling her belly and coquettishly whining, "Milo, the baby wants to eat oranges. Can you go buy some, please?" Milo Chin frowned. He used to find this side of Lila Lin charming and adorable, but now it just seems so irritating. The company is about to go bankrupt, and she's still thinking about eating oranges. His anger erupted instantly. "If you want oranges, can't you buy them yourself? Do you not have hands or feet? Don't bother me, get out." Lila Lin was stunned by the shouting, and after 2 seconds, her eyes welled up with tears as she choked out, "Milo, you've changed." "Shut up." Milo Chin slammed the table violently. "Stop pretending to be pitiful here." Lila Lin covered her face and ran out of the office, accompanied by a sob that was even more piercing and unbearable. The room fell silent again, leaving only the suffocating air and increasingly heavy breathing. His mind was filled with the image of Noah Yun calmly and composedly handling the crisis. Only such a woman was worthy of being his wife. Just then, his mother's video call came through. "Son, I heard Noah Yun is holding her wedding at XX Hotel today. Is that true?" Milo Chin froze, his mind exploding with a loud bang. "What wedding? Who said she got married?" My old friend posted photos of her wedding with the young master of the Lee family on her social media. Mrs. Chin snorted coldly and added with a haughty tone, "That orphan girl is quite the schemer. She told me you two broke up," and immediately turned around to latch on to the Lee family. "She really is a restless vixen. It's just as well she's married. She was never good enough for you. Son, you deserve a wealthy heiress from a family of equal standing." "Mom, shut up," Milo Chin roared, his mind consumed by the thought of Noah Yun marrying someone else. His chest felt as if it had been split open by a blunt knife, each step bringing excruciating pain, making it hard to breathe. He couldn't accept it, he simply couldn't. No way, absolutely impossible. Noah Yun is not a vixen. I won't allow you to insult her. She couldn't possibly marry someone else, she can only marry me. He firmly believed that all of this must be fake, that Noah Yun had hired actors to deceive him. She loved him so much, she couldn't possibly marry someone else. He grabbed the car keys and rushed out of the office. The wedding venue was brilliantly lit, with a grand floral arch at the end of the red carpet. Li Chaonan held my hand, his palm warm and firm. The audience was filled with celebrities from all walks of life, every eye fixed on us. The priest's voice was solemn and melodious. "Miss Noah Yun, do you take Mr. Li Chaonan to be your husband, to have and to hold, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health? To love and to cherish, till death do you part?" I looked at the man beside me, his eyes filled with only me. "I do." Applause erupted, and flowers rained down. The ring slipped onto my finger, and as Li Chaonan and I leaned in for a kiss, the entire room erupted in cheers. Suddenly, the doors were flung open with force, and a disheveled figure burst in. "I object." All eyes turned in unison, and the venue fell silent instantly, leaving only Milo Chin's panting shout echoing through the air. He rushed to the front of the stage, his suit disheveled and his eyes bloodshot, as if he had gone mad. "Noah, this farce needs to end. I'm here now, so stop acting. Send all these actors home. I'll cover everyone's performance fees." The guests erupted into murmurs, some snickering, others frowning. Milo Chin stared at me intently. "Do you have any idea what I've done for you? I rushed here in the rain, and for you, I even dared to defy my mother. Can't you see how sincere I am? Stop this nonsense. Come home with me, and let's start over." "Okay." He reached out his hand, only for Li Chaonan to kick it away. "Get lost, you little punk," Li Chaonan sneered. "How dare someone whose company is about to go bankrupt still have the nerve to fight for a marriage?" Milo Chin slumped to the ground, staring at him in disbelief. "Was it you? Did you pull some underhanded trick to steal my clients?" I took a deep breath and looked coldly at Milo Chin. "Milo Chin, you didn't come to me because you love me. You only remembered you needed my help when your company couldn't hold on any longer." He shook his head in denial, but his flustered and guilty expression tore the lie to shreds. "Let me tell you, the actual person behind the company's biggest client is Chaonan. I said calmly. The initial cooperation was also because Qiaonan agreed to it out of respect for me. All those subsequent clients only worked with you because of his word. Impossible, impossible. Milo Qin gritted his teeth, unwilling to believe the truth. He had always believed that the company was something he built himself, that the major clients were ones he secured, and that I merely helped out a little along the way. We're over, please stop disgusting me and get the hell away. I said calmly, but he still refused to leave, continuing to struggle and shout, Noah, you're my wife. What does this pretty boy surnamed Li amount to? He's the third party. Li Qiaonan was so angry that he laughed instead, stepping forward to throw a punch, but I stopped him. No need to dirty your hands, leave the trash to the security guards. Two black-suited security guards immediately grabbed Milo Qin and lifted him up. He struggled desperately, shouting, Noah Yun. You can't get married without my consent. He was dragged out by the guards, his mouth covered. At this moment, Li Qiaonan turned to face the crowd, his tone icy. From now on, anyone who dares to continue cooperating with the Qin family will be making an enemy of the Li family. I mean what I say. Beautiful and romantic music began to play once more. The wedding continued. I looked up to meet Li Qiaonan's gentle yet resolute gaze, and amidst everyone's blessings, we embraced and kissed each other. The entire venue erupted into the most enthusiastic and heartfelt applause and cheers. One Milo Qin stumbled home, still covered in the humiliation and disgrace from the wedding scene. He had expected to see Lila Lin greet him gently when he opened the door. Even a single word of comfort would have sufficed, but just as he reached the entrance, he heard her muffled laughter from inside. Don't worry, he's still clueless and thinks the child is his. The company is about to go bankrupt. If I don't cash in soon, it'll be too late. The man's voice on the phone was playful. Lila, don't go soft on me now. Once we get the money, we'll fly away together and let that loser fend for himself. Lila Lin giggled. Him, what's he good for besides pretending to be devoted? I've been sick of him for ages. Once the money's in our hands, we're out of here. He doesn't even know he's been cuckolded. What a fucking idiot. Milo Qin's mind exploded with shock. He stood frozen outside the door, one hand gripping the doorknob so tightly his knuckles turned white. It was all a scam from the very beginning. A mix of rage, shame, and despair churned within him as he violently kicked the door open and stormed in, his eyes bloodshot like a wild beast. Lila Lin, you bitch. He lunged at her, slapping her across the face. How dare you deceive me? The child isn't mine. Lila Lin was stunned by the blow, screaming in terror. Are you insane? Let me go. Milo Qin grabbed her by the hair, pinned her down on the sofa, and roared, It's all your fault. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, this bitch, how could I have lost Noah? Give Noah back to me. His hands closed around Lila Lin's neck as she struggled desperately, crying out, Help, help. At that moment, a man rushed in. A vase was raised high and smashed toward Milo Qin. Milo Qin's pupils constricted violently, feeling the world spin before collapsing to the ground. Damn it. How dare you hit my woman? You're asking for death. The man pulled Lila Lin up, and the two ransacked the house for all valuables before fleeing, leaving Milo Qin alone, lying in a pool of blood. I saw Milo Qin again a month later, dressed in a hospital gown, his face pale. He stood at my doorstep leaning on a crutch, like a stray dog that had been abandoned. Noah, he called out to me in a hoarse voice, dropping to his knees as soon as he spoke. I'm sorry, I was wrong, truly wrong. Can you forgive me? His tears fell pattering down, wetting the surface of my shoes. I heard you almost died. I looked at him coolly, without a trace of sympathy. Too bad you survived. I heard that when he was on the brink of death, someone found him and took him to the hospital. He stayed in the ICU for a long time before being transferred to a regular ward. Milo Qin raised his head to look at me. Those once confident and bold eyes now held nothing but humility and despair. Noah, I miss you so much. Only after losing you did I realize how important you are. I beg you to get a divorce. Okay, divorce Li Qiaonan and give me another chance. Let's start over. What a joke. I raised an eyebrow at him and said with a smile, I'm already pregnant. Are you willing to be a stepfather? Milo Qin froze, his lips trembling slightly, but he still managed to force out a sentence. I'm willing, but in the future, can we have another child of our own? Okay, ha, he sure knows how to dream. At that moment, a cold, deep male voice came from the stairwell. Who gave you the courage to be a happy stepdad? How about I make you a dead man instead? Li Qiaonan walked in, draped his coat over my shoulders, and naturally wrapped his arm around my waist. He even deliberately leaned down to plant an affectionate kiss on my temple. He shot Milo Chin a disdainful look. Don't pay attention to these shady characters, sweetheart. I don't want to waste any more words with Milo Chin either. So I say directly, I was just joking earlier, I would never get a divorce, and even if I did, I wouldn't be with you. You're the person I despise most in this world. Milo Chin's face turns as pale as paper, his voice trembling with tears. Noah, don't be so heartless, I beg you. At that moment, his mother suddenly rushes out, cursing at me. Noah Yun, you ungrateful wretch. If it weren't for my husband Chin funding your education back then, would you even be where you are today? If you have any conscience left, you should give our family some shares of the Lee Corporation. I was utterly speechless. You old hag, what kind of lowlife are you to have such delusions? Why hasn't lightning struck you dead yet? I've already repaid all the debts of gratitude I owed. I have a clear conscience toward Uncle Chin. It's your idiot son who lacks the ability to maintain the business. That has nothing to do with me. Security, throw them out immediately. I waved my hand indifferently, not even bothering to look at them. If they come back to cause trouble again, just call the police. After that, I never saw the mother and son again. Later, I heard that Milo Chin found Lila Lin and her lover and stabbed them to death on a dark and stormy night. He was arrested by the police and sentenced to death. His mother couldn't bear the shock and went insane. None of this has anything to do with me. My child was born, a very adorable girl. Now, with the company of my loved one and child, my own career, and a warm little home, every day is a new beginning. Qiaonan never asked me to stay at home to serve my husband and raise children. He supported and encouraged me to pursue my dreams. I originally aspired to be a pharmaceutical researcher. In the past, I gave up this ambition to repay a debt of gratitude. Now with greater support, my team and I will develop drugs that benefit humanity. Sunlight streams through the glass into the workspace. A bright future lies ahead.